What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Let's Do a
Do a
Podcast.
podcast?
I just really wanted to make it very
Too much
dramatic.
suspense.
I am Ryan,
And I am Anthony.
and my Lanta, week 3 of CAGEFEST. What a doozy we got
It
in
doesn't
store
feel
for
like
you
3
guys.
days. It feels like 3 weeks. Yeah, that's correct.
So, not 3 days. Oh my god, I would die. Yeah, next year, every day.
Every day, 30 days of we
Still
still wouldn't run out of movies. Yeah.
We wouldn't, surprisingly. Of course, before we do anything else, let's talk about beer. So, what you drinking today, Anthony?
So yesterday, I mentioned this in the last one. Yesterday, I ran a marathon, and so I was very dehydrated. And usually you're like, don't drink alcohol. Which I got a weird story that thing I didn't know about when people run these races that I think is pretty crazy. But focusing on the beer, so to keep myself hydrated, I am drinking Turning Point
Oh, yes.
sports drink. If I can turn it towards the camera here. Sports drink. And this is the only note I have on it on Untapped. It is I should just have this memorized because it's one sentence. Blue raspberry electrolyte infused beer.
That's what it is.
Supposedly is the flavor of the should be the same flavor of the Gatorade I drank the entire time during the race. So we'll see if this makes me not want to drink it. So I may be tired of that flavor.
Have you had any of their quenchers before?
No, I've never tried Quencher. I've always been afraid of this beer.
Oh, really?
I do want to share.
So, how'd the race go?
First 13 miles are good. Then got to mile 22. I was good. And then they always talk about the wall, and it is freaking real for sure. Yeah, I hit that wall pretty hard at mile 22, and then it was just like my legs died on me. So I just dragged it in. I won't lie and tell you I didn't cry, because I did ugly cry like 2 times. So
I bet.
It was rough. So I got, they do pictures. You can buy pictures of the race afterwards. And there's a few pictures in there. They got me right at the finish line, and it looked like I'm like dying. I'm making this face like, and I was like, because I was like wheezing when this was happening too. I was racing next to this one dude, and I was like, I could probably mile 20, and I started doing it because it's the furthest I'd run before was 20 miles. And so I started doing the wheezing thing because I was just like so stoked that I had gotten that far without stopping. And so I was like, as I'm running down the street, and the guy looks at me, he's like, "Are you okay?" It's like, "I'll be fine." So,
just leave me.
It was a great experience, though.
Oh, that's cool, man.
Do it again. So,
Yeah, I just said that's cool. I definitely proud of you. That's such a It's a huge thing. So
yeah, not too shabby. Did it in about 4.5 hours. So everybody tells me that's a good time, good for a first timer. So
yeah,
take it. I'm definitely feeling it though.
I bet.
That is why I'm drinking sports drink, so I can get my electrolytes back while drinking beer. So
nice.
Let's get that beautiful bean footage here.
There you go. So I am drinking from Great Notion. It is their Magnetic West. So obviously it's a West Coast 7%. We went and visited this brewery. What's today? Saturday. Listen, you work from home every day just turns into the same day. But yeah, we went and visited Great Notion in Portland on Saturday, met up with some people, and it's a great brewery. Their sours are amazing. They have some that are like really sweet, and of course some that are actually sour. I had hazy to West Coast, and there wasn't anything there that I was like, this is a bad beer. So I know I've heard of them before. Like I feel like they're a pretty well known brewery. So I was excited whenever I found out like the closest one's like 45 minutes away. I was like, that's an easy drive. Like for people that come from Texas, that's a nothing drive. Like,
right. Yeah.
Yeah. Cause everybody was like, oh, you had to drive so far. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, this is nothing. But,
Yeah,
So
that's one thing about being in Texas. It really kind of like inoculates you to like anywhere else in the country. You want to go to a brewery in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, you can drive a good 40, 50 miles to get there, and it's no big deal. But yeah, anywhere else in the country, people are like, that's like 3 counties away.
Yeah. Of course, I had to get a glass from them.
Oh, nice. Love it.
Of course, the color is very clear West Coast. So, have you had a sip of yours yet?
I did have a little sip. So it is toilet water blue.
It is very blue.
Yeah. So we'll see how this goes.
What do you think, though? Like, what's your first impressions?
Not accurate to the actual Gatorade flavor. We'll say that. So that's good for me, though, because I'm pretty tired of the Glacial Frost Gatorade right now. So I'm happy with it.
All right. Well, there we go. At least he's happy with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like this. I didn't try this one before I bought it. So I bought this and I bought a stout that I'll probably drink on our next episode. It's another pancake theme, and I thought of the Return of the Stack from False Idol because that's
I remember that
favorite from them. So whenever it was something stacks or big stacks or something, I was like, I have to get it. Like, so we'll try that. Of course, I won't drink it till then, but yeah, and yeah, of course, it's the episode at the end of the episode or whenever we're done. If we remember, we'll rate and talk about the beer. What's going on in the DFW for beer news?
DFW beer news. So coming across the beer wire, we have today's the 27th. So coming up this week, yeah, there we go. So coming up this week, so tomorrow, February 28th, last day of the month. Nothing worthwhile. It's Monday. What are you gonna do? Let me get to the next weekend here. Backyard barbecue class. You know, we always love to talk about it. Manhattan Beer Project. Should have read this ahead of time. So Martin House Brewing Company. Speaking of running, if you want to do a beer run, Martin House is doing a beer run, and they're doing a Palo Pinto craft cocktails launch party afterwards at noon. So you want to head out there at 10 a.m. and go do some running, which that's getting pretty late for a run. So it might start getting warm there. So we'll see. On Rotation Dallas, 8-year anniversary party is also on the 4th.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And something I like to do, I always end up going to these by accident, but Hop and Sting, they're doing their charity pints for the CTMS PTA. So if you want to go support a middle school, spend $13 and probably get a specialty glass. Hey, you can do that. Okay. And also on Saturday, Tups, they are doing a pre-move garage sale, which tells you they're getting ready to move.
We're getting close.
We're getting close to their moving there. Coming up and further down the line, St. Patrick's Day is coming up, March 11th. You got Four Bullets Brewery St. Patrick's Day party. Community is doing a St. Patrick's Day weekend, March 17th through 19th. And 10th anniversary party, Martin House, March 25th. So a lot of stuff going on. Big Texas Beer Fest, of course, April 15th on tax day. So a lot of stuff coming up on the calendar. It's getting to where people are willing to hang out outside because it's getting a little bit warmer. Hey, you want more details? Go to beerandbigd.com. I really should have read this ahead of time.
It's fine. It's usually my thing, so we get all. Yeah. It's just trying to learn all these new things. Yeah, we're ready for things to warm up around here. We just had a snowstorm actually last week, and we might end up getting another one soon. So luckily where we are, it's not too bad. But I was just like, okay,
for it.
When's it start getting a little bit warmer? I'm a little bit ready for it, but
you're further north. You're going to be stuck doing this rigmarole for like another few months.
Hey, as long as I can continue to drink stouts, I'm happy. Like, so the events that I do know about is there's one, I think it's called She Brew. It's a fest just for like so the beer that will be there will be brewed or owned by women brewers. Um, I don't know too much about it because I just heard about it Saturday. I actually thought I was like, "Ooh, I need to look that up." For one, that'd be fun to go to. Um, but somebody that we were talking to, she was just like, "Oh yeah, there's festivals all the time." I kept meaning to ask her, like, "Do you find this on a website? Like, where can I find this information?" Um, but if you are a lady in beer, make sure you check out the what is it? Just like the craft beer girls on Facebook. They have one like they have one everywhere. Like my wife was a part of the one in the DFW, and now that we're out here, she joined this one. And it's not like it's for them to get together, but like I was able to go too. It's not specifically just for women, but they're like, yeah, bring your husband, bring your kids, whatever. So we're gonna try to do some stuff through them, and I might get her to message them to figure out how I can figure out what's going on in the area of beer.
Nice.
So,
Those connections.
yeah, and it's actually been fun. Like the last few weekends, we've gone out and adventured and met some people here and there. So it's like, okay, it's trying to trying to figure out how to make adult friends again. But yeah,
Yeah, it's never easy. It's never easy.
It's not easy. But yeah, there's my beer news, I guess.
All right.
I guess it's movie time.
It is movie time.
Whether
So
I like it or not.
So you may have seen me look down while Ryan was talking because I had a thought to myself. I had a note about this movie, and I was like, I need to look into this real quick. And I came to realize that this is a comic book movie, which I guess is obvious from the way the movie starts.
Well, I mean, I looked it up afterwards too because I was thinking, why would they shoot certain parts to be comic book style? Like I was like, this doesn't make sense. And then afterwards, yeah, I looked it up and saw that too. But yeah, without knowing, you were thinking, why the hell are you doing this? It's stupid. So
yeah, it was very first Hulk movie, the one with Eric Bana, Ang Lee style is what I was getting vibes of, and nobody really loved that, so I was like, why did they do that for this? So,
and it still didn't work. So
yeah, still didn't work that well.
All right, so give us the little, shenanigans, not shenanigans.
Shenanigans.
The breakdown. Synopsis. There you go. That's the word I was looking for.
All right. Put on the movie voice there.
Jiu Jitsu
2020. Every 6 years, an ancient order of Jiu Jitsu fighters joins forces to battle a vicious race of alien invaders. But when a celebrated war hero goes down in defeat, the fate of the planet and mankind hangs in the balance. This statement is not accurate in the least.
No, I feel like we watched a completely different movie.
Yeah, that can't be correct. I'm on the page for it.
Whatever. Listen, whoever writes these really needs to get their shit together. Do you even watch the movies before you do a description?
So that was the IMDb one. Here's the more accurate one from the film production company. So, when Jake Barnes, a master jiu-jitsu fighter, refuses to face Brax, which love the name, an indomitable alien creature, the future of humanity hangs in the balance. Injured and suffering from severe amnesia, conveniently, Jake is captured by a military squad unequipped to fight the merciless intruder who has descended upon the planet. Jake is rescued by Wiley, an order of jiu-jitsu fighters who must help him recover his memory and regain strength in order to band together and defeat Brax in an epic battle that will determine the fate of mankind.
Yep. That's a lot better, at least.
Yeah. That's more accurate. It's like a race of aliens. No, it's just like one dude.
Yeah, it's one guy. Like, calm down, people. So this movie, I don't even. For one, I was worried this is gonna be like what was that one movie where Nicolas Cage was only in it for like 10 minutes maybe
Oh, the one
that
where
we
he was in
did.
the Crusades. Yeah.
Yeah. I thought it was gonna be one of those because you don't see him forever.
Yeah, he's like, he doesn't come in until like 40 minutes in.
Yeah. So I was thinking, I
Which is what
swear
happened
to
last
God,
time.
I was like, if Anthony picked another movie where he's in it for like 5 minutes, I'm gonna be so mad.
Well, it's like this
But
movie. I feel like this is like one of those movies that came out of the depths of the pandemic. We were all locked in our houses, and it was like, hey, Nicolas Cage movie. We were going to release this in theaters to
yeah.
severe losses, but instead we'll just drop it on Netflix.
Yeah. And I was actually kind of surprised that this came out in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
Just because I was like, this is graphics later than that, it felt like. But I don't know.
You thought the graphics were better than 2020?
No, I thought they were worse.
Than 20. Oh, okay. You thought they were worse. I misunderstood. I was like, yes, this is very. I feel like this is very early 20 teens at best.
Yeah. That's why I was a little confused when I was like, wait, this wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
I do want to say though, the thing that stuck out was that I really loved that it was an obvious mess up, which I don't know if you noticed this, but did you notice Nicolas Cage's sword at one point whenever he was trying to stand up?
No, what happened?
So like this is the sword, and at the scene whenever like he's fighting the alien finally and all that kind of stuff, he uses the sword to like push himself up.
Oh yeah,
Well, the sword it's a flimsy sword because it's fake and it like buckles.
It's like, sir, you need to get your katana worked on there.
I laughed so hard, and you could tell that he like felt it because he quickly like pulled it up and like stood up, and they're like, "That's good enough."
It's really interesting because I just read a factoid about the movie that they only had Nick Cage for 3 days on the set.
Yeah.
So they were like, they're probably like, we don't have time to repeat that shot. Let's keep it and let's move on. It wasn't that bad. So.
Yeah. So they only had 3 days, and they paid him $5 million.
Yeah.
So that's not bad.
Out of the budget for this movie being $25 million, so he got 20% of that budget.
Yeah. So that's why they're like, listen, with Nicolas Cage, they're one and dones. Like,
yeah. Like it's like Mr. Cage doesn't do reshoots. He doesn't do second takes. The first take was perfect.
Especially like once they actually introduced him, he was in it a lot. Right. So that was kind of surprising to see. Of like, I feel like they shot the rest of this movie in 3 days almost. Mm-hmm. Like whenever they actually introduced him, or they just cut it up really good. But
yeah, and it's surprising to me. The other thing that's surprising to me is they had actually some pretty recognizable good actors. I mean, in addition to Nick Cage, because I did have Frank Grillo, he's been in some B-movie action movies before, but they also had Tony Jaa, which I don't know. Have you seen the Ong Bak movies?
I have not, but I know about him. So
those movies are. He may not be the best actor in the world, but he's like a freaking kick-ass martial artist in the Ong Bak movies. Like I've only seen the first one, and it's like basically it's like John Wick but in Thailand, because he's going to save like his village's like elephant or something, and it's just nuts.
Another actress that they had though is, I don't know how to say her last name, but it's Marie, and she plays in the 100. I binged that show, so as soon as I saw her, I was just like, oh, I know who she is. And just like a lot of actors like that, where they didn't necessarily play like big parts.
Yeah.
But like if you binge Netflix, you know who these people are.
Yeah. I'm going to try it. Marie Avgeropoulos.
Yeah. She's a really good actor. I really liked her in the 100, and there's a lot of bad acting in the 100. So she's pretty good out of all of them. So I was just like,
is she good by comparison, or is she just like good?
I mean, based off of getting into this movie, she's probably just good based off comparison. Uh-huh. But I mean, I don't think she was terrible in this movie, but yeah, whatever. Okay, so what are some like highlight scenes that you want to talk about, and then we'll go into the like and dislike, or we could just go straight into that. So,
Highlight scenes, anything with Tex, honestly.
yeah.
I loved anything with Tex. I was like, at the end, I was like, I don't want Tex. Everybody else everybody else from the military can die in this movie, but not Tex. We must protect Tex. He is too precious.
I was so afraid that they were gonna do the normal, the black guy dies first.
Kill the black guy.
Yeah. Let's kill the funny black guy. But I was happy that like he survived the whole thing, because he turned into not just a funny guy, but like he was actually useful and funny.
Useful.
He helped with grenades. Come on.
He did help with that, but he gave some really bad medical advice at the end there.
He was awesome though. Like he was a really, really good actor.
Never hire Tex as an interpreter.
Yeah. I looked him up afterwards, of course, and he's been in a lot of oddball stuff. But because of how good he was, I almost want to go watch those movies. Like, it's rare for me to feel that way about an actor, where it's just like, oh, you're really good. Like, I want to go watch your other movies. And yeah, like one of them's like he was on My Name Is Earl. I bet that's how I recognize him.
Familiar, yeah.
Yeah, and then he's like in a few other movies. So I don't know. I might check out those movies. I bet they're B movies like this. So
because he immediately stands out from like all the other like military types, and because like you got everybody doing the military thing when the lady just kind of rides past the checkpoint with what's his name, Jake. Average white dude, basically, just like no name white guy, is basically how I felt about the main character.
Oh yeah,
he's very nondescript, except that I think they try to do his hair like Guile from Street Fighter. But they roll him up. They roll up there with the body, and they call him out there. He's like, "Hold on, Sergeant, I'm eating canned chili over here. You want some?" It's pretty great. It's like it just kind of continued from there.
Yeah. So, this is something I keep wanting to remember to do, but I always forget. So this got a 2.9 out of 10 on IMDb. So,
ooh,
yikes! And I feel like that's a pretty good score compared to what I think I would have given it. But, not to give away my end rating here, but. Okay, so let's talk about likes and dislikes. So let's go with the likes. I always try to do the opposite of what I think we'll have more of. Like, I think we'll have more dislikes than we will likes. So let's talk about likes. So obviously besides Tex, because I feel like we can all agree, fantastic part of this movie.
Yeah.
I did kind of actually like the concept of the movie. In the sense, like some of it still was just like, that's such a stupid thing, but
it was Mortal Kombat.
Yeah. So it was kind of a fun, different take on kind of a Mortal Kombat kind of feel of a movie. So I think there was a lot of potential there. Yeah. And that's what kept me interested, honestly. Like I definitely wasn't bored watching this movie. On top of, I really liked Nicolas Cage's character. Mm-hmm. He was a goofy, ridiculous, crazy person, and I thought it was great. And y'all know me. I feel like lately I've been saying that, so it feels weird, but normal me doesn't really say I liked Nicolas Cage in this movie. But this movie and the last movie, I think, was it the last movie that we did? I already forgot what movies we've done.
Yeah. We did Humanity Bureau last year.
Oh, yeah. I didn't like him in that one, but it was our first one.
I was like, I feel like there's two modes to two different kinds of movies he does. He does like these nutso movies where he plays crazy Nick Cage, and then he does like these straight man ones where he's just like a guy trying to save some people.
Yeah, and that's why it's just like, I like the goofy Nicolas Cage. I feel like he plays that so much better than the serious role. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's why I liked him in this, and that's why I liked him on the Unbearable Weight of Talent or whatever that was called. And like just these goofy movies and the ones where he doesn't talk at all. Willy's Wonderland.
The
like,
the one we've looked at, yeah.
I randomly think I should put that movie back on. But anyways, going back to this. So my positives, the things I liked was Nicolas Cage, and I liked where they were going with this movie. So what about you, Anthony?
So things I liked about this movie, I did like the so touching on there, the fight choreography was pretty cool. It did get a bit hardcore Henry in there for a bit. When they were escaping, when they were escaping from the camp. Yeah,
I was so worried. I was like, "Oh, don't tell me we just went hardcore Henry."
Yeah, when Tony Jaa's character comes in there and breaks him out of the army camp, and I was like, I started noticing a pattern. I wrote a note to myself, and I was like, is the camera shooting a machine gun at the people? Because it looks like, so you see like all these machine gun shots just kind of get firing, but you don't see who's shooting them. And I was kind of thinking back, it's like, wait a second, we were also, when we were following Jake through the forest and beginning the movie, the camera was also shooting the shurikens or the ninja stars, or what you want to call them, at Jake as well. So are we like a POV of a character at all times during this movie? Are we just like first person view at all times from somebody's point of view? Or is the camera just actively attacking the people in the movie? And because nobody can see who's attacking them, because this guy, the Brax, is also kind of like the Predator a little bit. Which in a lot of ways, really, particularly in that end fight, I was like, okay, this is basically how they killed Predator.
Yeah.
But I'm sorry, I'm supposed to be talking about things I liked about this movie. But the fight choreography was pretty good, though, aside from that one element there, which I'm going to count that as one of the things I didn't like about this movie.
Great. Noted.
Yeah, noted that. I'm going to bookmark that. But the fight choreography was pretty good, aside from the first-person view stuff. I also, on that vein, I really enjoyed the fight between Jake and Wiley, or between the main character and Nick Cage's character after he falls in his hole. There's like the whole bit, it gets pretty funny because he's like, and it puts it in context once you find out that Jake is his son, but like he's like yelling at him, they like get off his piano when he jumps up there when they're fighting, and he goes on about like these newspaper hats he makes. He's like, look at the detail. He like puts it. Doesn't he put it on at one point too?
Yeah.
It was just kind of zany there. He was talking about, oh yeah, that's my favorite chair. You enjoy it? When he knocks him back into the chair. So that fight was not only was it enjoyable because Nick Cage was in it, but I mean, it was not going to be like crazy choreography there, but they made it work really well. That was more play fighting. And then when you learn the factoid later that Jake is his son, it makes more sense why that fight wasn't as kinetic as the other ones. And that kind of helps play off the fact that Nick Cage is not a trained swordsman. So I'm sure he has like some stuff that he knows from the movies that he's been in, but he's not like a martial artist like some of these other guys. So, but yeah, that's the thing I like about this movie. The fight choreography was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. I agree with that. All right. Well, I guess let's get on to the things that we disliked the most. Anthony, do you want to go first since you kind of already hit on one of yours?
So camera work was okay, but the first-person view stuff was going in and out of the first-person view. It got a little confusing at times. I felt like, what's that?
I'm glad that it didn't stay there because I really was kind of a little bit worried whenever they did I like to call, pulling the hardcore Henry on us.
Yeah. And I found myself pulled out of the moment because I was like, how are they? I was getting into the technical thoughts of how is this happening? Because I will say the transitions were pretty smooth when they went to from first person to third person, because you saw like him throwing punches from behind the camera, but then you saw him kind of come out in front of the camera, and then he went back behind the camera and he was shooting somebody or something when they were trying to escape. And so I think they did it a few other times during the course of the movie, if I remember correctly.
Maybe.
And maybe it been once more, but most of the time they did it from the alien's perspective.
Mm-hmm.
But then it was like pretty clear that it was because the alien had the predator vision. So, but that's the thing I didn't like about the movie. It makes it weird. It makes it jarring. It kind of pulls you out of it. I understand what they're trying to do with the technique and try to put you in the from the POV of the character, but I'd rather watch them fight than watch them kind of like move their fists out of the frame, as they're punching people. So I think we've learned. I think we did say Hardcore Henry. We did say we liked it, if I remember correctly.
Man, I don't remember. That was forever ago.
Yeah, it was a couple of years ago. If I remember correctly, though, I do think we enjoyed it, but I don't think. I think it was because of a lot of the other elements on top of the first person view. Because the first person view was jarring a bit. So
that was rough.
But that was the thing I didn't like about the movie.
The more and more that I think about it, it's a little difficult to pick one. But I would say, even though this was a comic book, I don't like that it would seem like at random times they're like, cool, let's just do a quick little yada, 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 throw in some comic book strips. It's so weird. It is so weird. It doesn't make any sense. Even though it was a comic book, it doesn't make sense in this movie. It really does feel like we don't have time to explain all this or what's happening, so let's do a little weird comic strip thing. And then, boom, we're in the desert walking around. And it's just like, I don't know. That really drew me out because I was just like, it was just like story and intensity and all this stuff. And all of a sudden it's like comic book strips. And you're like, that doesn't go here. Like, that doesn't make sense. So
yeah, it's like one of those things. Yeah, it's like one of those things where you see those in a movie where like, all right, we got to do two things. We got to steal the key card from the secret facility, and then we got to go attack the aliens. And they go to the next scene. It's like, all right, we got the key card, and it's like, missing something there.
It definitely does. It makes it feel like they don't kind of care enough to build up that story that they're like, let's just do it in a comic book with typing. Like, I don't know. It just it really, really threw me off. And I think that's probably my biggest complaint. There are plenty of others, but I'm picking one and I'm sticking with it. So
but yeah, I will say some of the deaths. So I will say some of the deaths were pretty cool. The one where the lady gets caught in the spike trap.
Yep.
Which is unfortunate because that's a trap they set for the alien, right?
Mm-hmm.
Which, how did they think that was going to work? I think it was like, it wasn't hidden or anything.
It was not hidden at all. And because pretty much immediately he looks over and he sees this trap, and it shows you looking like him looking at it. And so you're like, he's not going to fall for this. And so he quickly just like throws somebody over there. Like, here, you just go die over there. Like,
yeah, he just like stabs her and he just throws her in there. And then you see her get spiked. It's like, great. But I will say the alien was quite honorable. He wasn't going to kill somebody if he thought they were incapable of fighting, I will say.
Yeah, that's why Nicolas Cage's character was alive for so long and all that kind of stuff. I mean, I did like the fighting, and I feel like the action scenes were pretty good. So all right. So from 1 to 5, how would you rate this? And again, everybody, you can follow us on Letterboxd at Let's Do a Podcast. That's how we rate all of our movies. You can see what we've seen, how we've rated it, and what we're going to see next.
So if before this viewing, I probably would have put it down as a 1 because I couldn't get through it the first time I tried to watch it. This being the second time, however, and seeing a little bit more of it, I will give it twice as many stars as I would have given it previously. 2 stars. Nick Cage kind of brings it up a level. As I mentioned before, the martial arts aspect, the fight choreography was pretty good. The plot, I felt like it was a bit lacking. I mean, they could have filled in some more details. And the main character, the actor for that role, they should have gotten somebody better. He just couldn't carry the movie. He was just like a blank slate the entire time. I feel like he was kind of like reminded me of Bella in the Twilight movies. So like it's just like input whatever characteristics you want here. I mean, he was an amnesiac, so that's going to be what it's going to be. But there was just nothing to the character, so except that he was a coward, which I thought was funny. So
yeah. I wondered. Someone really was just like, I wonder how many times they would have to stop, and he was like, "What's my line again?" So I
really has that
kinda
energy.
stick by my original feeling, which was a 1. So we'll split it. We'll do a 1.5 on
1.5.
Letterbox. So we that's definitely a 1.5 movie for me. So it's really difficult because, again, like I said earlier, is like I stayed entertained, but it was just really, really bad. And even though I was entertained and I was interested, I still don't think I would be like, you got to watch this movie to anybody. I just don't. Even if we're all hanging out, all that kind of stuff is just like, let's put The Office on for the 900th time versus this. So, yeah. So that's where we stand on it. If you watch this movie, let us know your thoughts. Put it in the comments. We definitely want to know. If you guys liked this movie, we definitely want to know why did you like this movie.
We gotta know is for science.
For scientific reasons. So Anthony, you finished off your beer. So
I did. My thirst is quenched.
It is quenched. What did you think? How would you rate this?
So it's funny. So my wife's currently cooking dinner, and she's doing stir fry. And so when I opened it, I got the smell of the stir fry coming in. And I thought it was from the beer, so I was like, "This beer smells funky." So
wait, is it a Martin House beer?
Yeah, I was like, smells like sesame oil. But the beer was actually not too shabby. It's not accurate to the Gatorade, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on how many miles you've run the previous day.
Right.
But it's like any other Berliner Weiss or Ghost beer or fruited sour. I'd probably put it in the sour category. I'm pretty sure they put it in the sour category too.
I think so.
Yeah, but they don't say it on the can. But the sports drink from Turning Point, I give it a 3.25. I have three more of these in my refrigerator. And interesting factoid. We may have talked about it previously. I bought this at Total Wine. They're selling cans, not just at the brewery now. So you may be able to find it at your local grocery now. So Turning Point, they're putting stuff out there. So
nice. Good for them. I also saw that Petticolas is doing that now too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, they've never, for as long as they've been around, which is a long time, they've never distributed outside of the brewery. So
yeah, Petticolas has been around a while. Yeah, so it's good to see some of these other guys get distributing deals with a lot of stores, so it's easier to get their stuff.
Nice. All right, so finish mine up. So I would say this is probably the best West Coast IPA I've had so far. And that's including the stuff that I tried back home in Texas and now. I am very glad, but at the same time, really sad that I have 3 left in my fridge because I think I could go through them easily in one night.
Yeah.
I mean, they're 7%. They're super smooth, super easy, 0 IBUs, which I actually believe drinking this 7%. I would give this a solid 4. I really would.
Nice.
I'm very happy with this purchase. So
awesome.
I'm looking forward to the stout for the next episode. Yeah, I guess that's it for that.
Sorry, it's always nice to find a go-to. I'm just realizing something. Is my tongue blue?
A little bit. Yeah.
Nice. I was like, I think my tongue's blue.
Matches your shirt.
Yeah, there we go.
So yeah, Great Notion, Magnetic West is a good one. So, let's talk about the things that we like this week. So do you have
Things that we like
something?
this week.
Or do I need
Things
to go?
I like. Oh, you can go ahead. Yeah.
Okay. So mine's kind of just, you know, how I like to just make mine just very broad. I don't know why I just do. Um, Something I kind of, after we moved here, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start doing all the things that I actually want to do, which, you know, if people are like me, very self conscious and very much of like what can people think or people say and all that kind of stuff, I'm just like, I'm just done. I just want to live the way that I want to live. Like, and yeah, I don't know. So it's just like, I've decided, like, cool, like once or twice a week, like, let's just go out. Let's just go do something. Or like, so I get my ears pierced.
Nice.
Yeah. So I used to have my left one done forever ago. Like I still lived at home and everything. Um, and then I don't know. I stopped wearing it, and then I always thought about like doing it again, but I was always worried of, you know, the whole what people are gonna say and think and all that stuff. And I was like, I'm just
Mhm.
done. I feel I don't know what it was. It was actually before this where I was just like, I just don't feel like caring it anymore. And
Yeah.
it's like, so we got it done. I was like, oh, you know what? I like the way it looks. And then just like, I don't know. Of course, I don't have my nails done. I've just been, let me tell you, painting your nails. I feel for all the women out there. That's such a pain in the ass. Like, I love the afterwards. I love how it looks and everything and how I feel. But I'm just like, it's such a chore to do. But
Mhm.
so I don't know. I guess my thing of the week is just like encouraging other people, whether it is, you know, getting your pierced, doing your nails, whatever it is. Like, if there's something you've been wanting to do that's you're kind of stopping yourself because you're, what are people going to think or say, or what if I had to deal with this? Just do it.
Yeah.
Like it's so much better just kind of not caring about what other people think or say, because it's just like I'm gonna live the way that I want to live. So um yeah, so I hope to encourage some people out there just to just do it. And like especially with ear piercings, like I was like, listen, if I do it, I'm just like, I just don't like it actually. Guess what? I can
Take
take
it
them out.
out.
Like yeah, I
Yeah.
can just take it out, the heel will be fine. Um but just, you know, whether it's small or big, I mean, we did like with our move here. Like it was very much of just like the worry of what other people are gonna say, what just the transition, blah blah blah. But I was like, you know what? Let's just do it. Like I've been wanting to do this for years. Let's just do it. Worst case scenario, we move back to Texas, back home. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it to me, it's just it's so much worth doing and living in these experiences instead of living with the what ifs. So yeah, so that's my thing of the week. And if anybody needs to talk about anything or work anything through, you are more than welcome to message through the Let's Do It podcast. I will see it and we'll chat. So what about you, Anthony?
My thing of the week is a little bit less esoteric. My thing of the week. Going into this week, big event in my gaming sphere. I've talked about before how big of a Kerbal Space Program fan I am. I recently got a new
Mm.
computer that's actually able to play the game without like going to like maybe like 10 frames per second. So I've been playing it heavily modded. After a 3.5 year wait, Kerbal Space Program 2 got released this past week. It's in early access, actually. So very buggy. It's in like its alpha build. People are complaining, bitching, and moaning. Yeah, per usual, like they do on the internet.
Of course.
But they released a trailer for it, which just check it out. Kerbal Space Program 2 cinematic trailer or release trailer, however it is on there. And they have a song that I've been a fan of, but it's not been at the top of my rotation in there, that I thought just went with it so well, and it got me back into this. It's Howard Jones, the guy who is the son of Tom Jones. You know, it's not unusual, but he in the 1980s released a song called "Things Can Only Get Better," and That song is a freaking bop, and that was kind of like my mantra going into my race this week. I played it like 29 times, but it just got me back into the old 1980s song playlist of music, like Howard Jones, Level 42, Tears for Fears. So I was like, 1980s synthwave music. That's my thing of the week. Love it, enjoy it. That music, that music is just a bop and a half. Dig in it. So yeah, that's my thing of the week. I'm sure my wife is tired of hearing that song. So I may just keep it to myself after this week. But yeah, I think that's going to make my running playlist.
So I know it was either our first or the last podcast. I said I did something that I've always wanted to do, which was buy some Linkin Park merch. So I'll just show it off. I got a hoodie.
Nice.
There you go. And then the sleeves have like all the albums and stuff, like their logos on both sleeves. Cool. Yeah. So I'm really excited. I've been wearing it like crazy, of course. But
Hybrid Theory, Metamorphosis, Minutes to Midnight, and 2 more after that.
There's like, yeah.
Or is it a bunch more after that?
I mean, there's like, I think some of these are like their EPs and all of those, which
they include the Executioners on there too.
I have no idea. I haven't actually
the Jay-Z album.
I love it though. I've been wearing it like crazy, but
nice.
So Anthony, what's our next movie?
So our next movie, and is it our final for CAGEFEST?
Now we talked about after this one doing a 5th, which would be your favorite Nicolas Cage movie.
Oh, we did talk about that. Yes,
which I think
my favorite.
We still should do to make up for the lost time. You guys get an extra Nicolas Cage movie.
All right, I'm down with that. So we have 2 more coming. Our next one, though, I think is going to be pretty chaotic. Chaotic good or chaotic evil, I couldn't tell you. But it's going to be Prisoners of the Ghostland.
Yeah.
So get ready for that.
Yeah, definitely get ready. Thank God I decided to drink a stout for that episode. I think I'm going to need it.
Yeah, you may need it.
Yeah, so guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. We had a great time like always. You can find us on Instagram, Let's Instapod, Facebook, Let's Do a Podcast, YouTube is Let's Do a Podcast, Twitch is Let's Twitch a Podcast. I've been saying it wrong the whole time. Whatever. You can also find us on Letterboxd, where you can see all the movies that we've seen in the past and what we're going to see in the future, and look at all the ratings and everything there. You can also find us on Untapped at Let's Do a Podcast.
Yeah.
Okay,
I need you to send me your beers so I can rate put the ratings on there. I didn't get those from the last couple of ones.
I will try to remember whenever we get off here. Again, as always, if you guys have beer recommendation, movie recommendations, let us know. We're always looking to find movies and beers to drink. But besides that, guys, thank you so much for hanging out with us. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Anthony.
And let's end a podcast. Bye-bye. Yeah, fake music.